Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Clearly there's already a difference. I know the quality of the video is different from what it usually is, and that is because the storage on my phone unfortunately finished whilst I was recording the previous video, and I'd taken some pretty good footage, but yeah, it is what it is and we have to make do with what we have. So I'm gonna have to use my laptop for today. And on that note, let's get started. But before we do, I do encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Please do leave a like and comment on this video, share it with a friend. And I hope you enjoyed today's video because it's quite an important one, as are all my videos, but this one has a focus on careers, which I think is relevant to every young person. So I do hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned and make it all to the end. So, career ideation and planning, what is it all about? In essence, what we're just talking about is thinking about our careers and creating a plan which may yield results which are better than those we would have attained if we went about our lives and our careers without having a plan in place in the first instance. So, today there's several aspects that I want to talk about in terms of careers, but I want to start by giving perhaps a personal story, right, about my life and my experience, which then made me interested in making these types of videos. So I want to start by saying that I've done absolutely no research for this first video, and that's been the case for the first 4 or 5 videos I've done, and that's because I want to talk about these things from a point of experience first, right? To highlight an issue I had or something I experienced which then showed me the importance of a particular field and then encouraged me to dive further into that field. So the way I'm going to start this video is by giving a personal story and then applying it to the actual plans we need to create, and then concluding with an overall theme which we can leave this video with. So let me tell you the story. So I am currently studying accounting and finance, right? But I want to start from the beginning of high school. Not necessarily primary school, I think that's a bit more irrelevant. So let's just start from high school. So I did business studies, geography, and design and technology at A levels. And I then went on to study accounting and finance, which I'm doing now, right? And so already there's a bit of a discrepancy in terms of the skills which one is encouraged to have before starting their degree. I mean, at some institutions, they do say if you want to study this, you need to have maths, you need to have this, you need to have this. But for my university, they were a bit more lenient. I guess it does have its pros and cons. But, 90% of my peers in my class studied mathematics, accounting, and economics at A level. And so they have quite a solid foundation or grounding in the essential concepts which are needed to thrive in the field of accounting and finance, right? And this is because finance is very mathematical. There's even disciplines called financial mathematics, right? And so you can imagine someone who didn't do maths at A level going into a field which requires a lot of the skills there. And when I spoke to people, a lot of people say, "Oh, I did accounting and finance, and I didn't do maths, and I didn't do this." And it's like, okay, bro, we get it. It's fine. I'm not talking about a blanket statement. And look, you could brush your teeth with your finger. You could just remove the gunk every day, but it's going to be different if you just use the brush and toothpaste. So there's always benefits to some of these things. Let's not look at these things in terms of absolutely right or absolutely wrong, but just seeing what we can gain from what someone is trying to say. So yeah, I went on a bit of a tangent there, but just hear me out on the things that I want to say. Right. So one example that I also give to people is the person who does maths, physics, and chemistry at A level, and the person who does art, English literature, and English language at A level. The person who does maths, physics, chemistry can go to any university in the world and study engineering. They can apply for law, they can apply for anything. The person who does art, English language, and literature cannot go and apply to do medicine or engineering because the skills requirement is completely different. You can learn how to approach legal matters at university, but you can't just learn certain mathematical concepts on the spot, right? It's not to say that it is impossible, but you may have to work tremendously hard for you to first of all learn the stuff, then get on the same page as everyone, and then excel. So you're already much further behind, right? And that's why I had spoken about talking about my high school experience before. So basically, I found myself in this position where I then came to university, and it was a bit of a shock because I obviously had a deficit, a skills deficit for the concepts which are required. And I mean, it's still the case up to today where some things may take me slightly longer to learn because I didn't study some things back at high school. But since I'm passionate about the field, somehow I make it work, and I still haven't failed a single subject until now, which is good. But it doesn't always have to be the case, right? I mean, I never knew that finance needed mathematics. Honestly speaking, I never knew. For some people, it may be obvious, but for me, I wasn't aware of these things. And so, imagine if we in Form 1 or Form 2 or whatever were told about all careers from A to Z, from agronomist to zoologist, and we were told that if you want to be in this industry, this is what it's about. These are probably the skills you need to have. This is the path we advise you to take. These are the subjects we advise you to study. I think we'd have a much different outcome, right? And if we look at the problems in the world today, a lot of people struggle with. It can be attributed to the lack of knowledge that people have received earlier on in their lives. For example, people end up being very unhealthy, obese, overweight, or even if they're not overweight, having so many different complications. But where in formal education are we? You don't have to study medicine, but you can be informed somehow on a consistent and regular basis about how to approach your lifestyle in such a way that you can live a healthy life, or at least not an overly unhealthy one, right? We look at that's an issue on health. What about money? No one has talked about money. How many people end up broke? How many people end up overly in debt? So these are some things that I genuinely believe should be taught at a younger age, which are not being taught. And for example, maybe some people, they somehow just pushed through maths and all these subjects and they got it right, but for me that wasn't the case. I didn't know that for you to be in banking or finance, it's probably advisable that you have mathematics. But only later, when I was then at university, I was told. And so it may be my fault, I don't know. But I definitely am sure I'm not the only one who has this issue. And that's the story that I wanted to tell. That I never knew some of these things back then. But now that I'm in the position I am in now, I'm realizing that had I known, I think it would have, allowed me to have the capacity and at least the knowledge to then plan much better when the time ultimately came for me to do so. So when we talk about careers, there's so many different aspects to talk about. For example, the one I've spent the most time on is the skills. And this is only at a high school level and undergraduate level, but there's still postgrad. There's, you know, PhD. There's these professional qualifications. You can be a chartered accountant, a CFA. You can be. I know there's so many different qualifications in IT these days. There's engineering. I don't know. I'm sure each sector or each industry has its own professional qualifications, which are beyond university. And so there's so many different things to talk about when we think about careers. We've got the passion side of things. We've got the skill side. Do you pursue a particular career because you're passionate about it or because you're good at it? Or maybe should you start off in an industry which you're good at and then pivot to one you're interested in? These are all sorts of questions which people then have to figure out through trial and error or through mentorship. And as much as it is important, and perhaps why we're not taught these things at an early age is because it's then intended for us to find mentors. I think the job of the mentor would be much easier if the person they're mentoring actually had an idea of what it is they were getting into in the first place, which would then make the case for mentorship even stronger to direct people on more important matters than telling them what job or what career to pursue, you know. And so, yeah, I could go on and on and on, but that's why I wanted to make this video as an introduction to the importance and the need for knowledge on career ideation and planning. I intend for this topic to be a playlist and its own category on my channel, just like the other ones. There'll be many more videos on, you know, topics to do with Africa. There'll be many more on personal finance, on books, on this video, on videos to do with careers. And where's the paper? I've actually got this paper over here, which is about 10 bullet points about different ideas which I've thought about in terms of topics that I want to talk about, which will be relevant to us young people. You know, the theme of my channel is to get us young people thinking about some of these things, you know, and this is the note that I ultimately want to conclude on. You know, if we look at Africa, we are all aware that Africa is the poorest continent in the world, but we also have the fastest growing population. And of that fastest growing population, majority of it are very, very young people. And so, you know, the way we may look to increase the productivity of our economies in the form of GDP or whatever, maybe to, you know, invest in infrastructure and all of these things. But, you know, is that really the most effective way to do it? When we're looking at the long term, you know, a road is always going to need maintenance further down the road. A road is going to need maintenance further down the road. But infrastructure, all of these things are going to need to be repaired. If a fool today was to walk down this road and the road tomorrow was improved, the fool was still going to walk down that road. However, if we were to be a bit more intentional about the way we educate our young people, what we are actually educating them on, I think we would see a difference. For example, the case of Zimbabwe. People say, how come the country is like this, although we have the most educated population? Now, of course, Zimbabwe's case may be an exception. There may be more than one or two factors which are the reason for why we are where we are. I won't get into that. But there is a difference between being educated and being informed. And we need to ask that question when you look at countries such as Zimbabwe. Just because we have the most educated population doesn't mean we have the most informed population. How many of our people know how to budget? When we talk about personal finance, how many of our people know about books, knowledge beyond what we're taught in schools? How many of us know about the history of our country, the history of our continent? And how many people know how to plan and structure careers? These things are what create an informed person, an informed individual. And if we were to invest in this in our countries, in our economies, I think we would see longer term change and improvement than just investing in roads, right? And so that's why I wanted to make this video, and that's why a lot of the first videos I've made have been quite general and broad to begin with. I want to lay the picture out in front of you guys, and then we can start to zoom in on one particular area of that picture over time. So I hope you guys have found this video informative, and if you did, I do encourage you to subscribe and to like this video. You know, let's think about our careers more. Let's start to become a bit more informed beyond the classroom, you know, beyond just what we're taught by our teachers or the one or two lessons we take from our parents. Let's go beyond that and take the initiative to improve. I think that will ultimately result in more and better change for us and for everyone. So yeah, on that note, I think I'll end the video now. I know the quality wasn't good. It wasn't the best, but I still had to make this video. I think there's still value in the words I'm saying and not just the clarity of the picture. And so yeah, Tuesdays and Sundays, those are the days I always upload. It might seem like the video is a bit rushed, of which it may have been, but it is what it is. I recorded the video a bit late today, and I do take responsibility for that one. So but my phone, and I also tried to clear the storage on my phone. You know, it's quite odd, but I'll make a plan for that. But yeah, I won't keep you guys for too long. I hope you have found this video informative. I hope you found it valuable. I can't wait to make more videos in the line of careers. You know, there's the career ideation and planning. I've already done the Sunday Sundowners, the personal finance one. And in terms of personal finance, one idea I have for the future is Money Mondays with Mtulisi, which is like triple M. So I got a lot of these acronyms. For Sunday Sundowners, we have Sunday Sundowners, which has the reflect, refresh, and restart. On with the money, we've got Money Mondays with Mtulisi. I want to do like many book reviews, the career ideation and planning. I want to do business, which is basically I got a phone call now. But yeah, there's a lot that I want to do, and I can't wait to do it for you guys. So without further ado, I will leave you. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel and please like this video, and I shall see you in the next one. Cheers.